The integumentary system is our skin system. Our skin is the largest organ that our body has. The average adult can have about 8 pounds of skin. The accessory structures are hair, nails, and glands. The skin itself, as a cultural marketing perspective kind of thing, I mean, if you look at how much Americans spend on skin products, whether it be for hair, skin itself, and so on, it's a lot of money. And one thing I want to emphasize to you is to be careful what you put on your skin, because our skin is an absorbing organ, so whatever you put on it can get into your bloodstream. So things like lotion, perfume, acne medication, hair loss meds, shampoo, hair color, makeup, deodorants, anti-wrinkling agents, and so on. There's a lot of products out there that are carcinogenic, which means they can cause cancer. So there are also products out there that are good for you because they're made from natural ingredients, and they really try to stay away from cancer-producing agents. And since there's so many different products and everyone uses different things for their hair, skin, and so on, that I would recommend you take the time to do a Google search on the product you use. For example, let's say it's just some sort of cheap generic shampoo that you bought, and so type in the brand name and then add the word carcinogenic or the brand name and causes cancer, or any keywords like that, and then you're going to get a bunch of hits, and it will let you know if there's some chemicals in there that are known to cause problems, toxicity, and other problems. The skin is also valuable for diagnostic purposes. So a person can come in and if they're blue, that's a cyanotic appearance that will typically allude to poor circulation or decreased oxygen of some sort. If they're too red, it can mean hypertension, allergic reaction to something. Rashes, hives, some sort of skin irritation, breakout. There's a variety of things that could be. Could be, poison ivy, to chicken pox, to allergic reactions to different foods or airborne particles, or what have you. And the skin can break out. Also, eczema. So this, we could go on, but the point is that the skin is extremely valuable for diagnostic purposes. Okay, function of our skin, our integumentary system. It does offer a lot of protection, helps resist abrasions and UV light, prevents the entry of microorganisms and other bacteria and other things from the external environment to the internal environment. For example, if you pour gasoline on your skin, to some degree not really a big deal, versus like drinking gasoline. If you drink something, those are absorbing cells, so that would be very harmful. But skin is a barrier. It would protect you from the gasoline spill. It is extremely sensitive. So sensation, a nerve function, will help regulate heat and cold, touch, pressure, pain, and all this is extremely valuable for also internal regulation, how hormones are released, how the body is constantly trying to stay in homeostasis. So skin will be very important to help with that function. It helps with vitamin D synthesis. Now just know that across the board, most people are deficient in vitamin D, and there's a lot of reasons for that. It's geographical location. It is they practice sun blocking techniques, whether they're clothed, wear big hats, just don't go outside, wear the sunblock lotion, and so on. And so for a variety of different reasons, people overall are just vitamin D deficient. So I do a lot of vitamin D testing in my office. In all honesty, well over 90% of the patients that I test come back deficient. And my medical peers, same thing. I talk to them on a regular basis, whether they're friends of mine or just professional contacts. Any opportunity I get, is I just simply ask the question, do you test for vitamin D? Yes, we do. Well, what are the results you get? Like, just about everybody's deficient. So one day when you have that influence and recommendations, either order the test if it's within your scope or recommend it be ordered, and you'll be surprised. The majority of people will come back vitamin D deficient. And so therefore the easiest solution is to supplement. And my favorite supplement is Biodemulsion Forte by Biotics, because they mineralize it and emulsify the vitamin D for you, because vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin, and it takes a healthy gut to absorb a fat-soluble vitamin, which is A, D, E, and K. Those are your fat-soluble vitamins. But a lot of people, because they have a busted gut, they cannot mineralize and emulsify the fat-soluble vitamin. So there are some companies that do it for you, which means when you take it, it gets right into your system. So that's why it's my favorite. With temperature regulation, as your skin is detecting the temperature, it's going to tell internal parts like your blood vessels to dilate, which will release heat, vasoconstrict, which will the diameter of the blood vessel will get smaller, and that will conserve heat. You can sweat, which is designed to release heat, and that's all designed to keep you in homeostasis. Excretion, your skin is a purging organ. You can release toxins through the skin. And if any of you have ever been around people that maybe drink too much, or maybe they're detoxing and all that, you can actually smell it come out of them, literally, because the body is trying to detox. Okay, do you know the different layers of skin? On this diagram right here, on the outside-most layer we have the epidermis, and then the middle layer the dermis, and then the hypodermis. Okay, so epidermis and then hypodermis. If you'll notice, the dermis is the bulk of the skin. A lot of amazing things found in there. I do want you to know sebaceous gland, the erector pili muscle. Sebaceous gland is your oil gland. The erector pili is a muscle that, when it contracts, it gives you goosebumps and can help your skin shiver if you get cold. No hair follicle. That this is a nerve, and we have different types of nerves. That's something we covered in lab. Let's see. Pacinian corpuscle, which is deep pressure. Naked nerve ending, which is pain. And then we have other sensory nerves for tactile nerves, non-pain, non-temperature nerves, which means your basic touch nerves, and so on. So we'll get into more of these specific nerves when we get to nervous system, but I do want you to know these basics that I mentioned. The red is artery, the blue is vein. Those are our blood vessels. Red denotes oxygenated, blue denotes deoxygenated. Here's our sweat gland, and that's when you get hot, that's what releases water to cool you. We're seeing the layer of fat below the hypodermis. Be able to identify these parts on an exam, both lab and lecture. The epidermis, which is made up of epithelial tissue, does help prevent water loss and helps resist abrasion. It will also darken when UV light hits your skin. The darkening is a melanin responsibility. So your melanocytes, which are specialized cells within our skin, which gives us our pigment. So if you have a lot of melanin, you have dark skin. If you don't have a lot of melanin, you have light skin. And when sun hits your skin, it will darken, and the darkening is designed to protect you, protect the DNA, protect the stuff that's inside of us. The dermis is the thickest layer, and as we saw in that prior diagram, a lot of important structures are found in there. Okay, we have these things called cleavage lines. That this is where plastic surgeons come into play. They have a very good knowledge of cleavage lines. And if you look at this picture here, if you get a cut perpendicular to the cleavage lines, you're typically going to get a pretty nasty scar. And if you get a cut with the cleavage line, so parallel to it, you'll have a minimal scar. And this is why plastic surgeons do so good at what they do, because they understand these cleavage lines and make their incisions and so forth in such a way that once you heal, there's either no scarring or minimal. Okay, with your injections, there's 3 ways to give injections. You have intradermal, which is basically just surface of skin. A tuberculosis test is a good example of that. Basically like a skin prick test. Subcutaneous, sub is below, like your submarine, below the marine or water. The subcutaneous will get into the fatty tissue area of the hypodermis. Insulin shots are a good example of that. The technique is called tenting. So that's where you pinch and grab the skin, pull it up, and insert the needle. And then another one is your intramuscular injection, where you're going deep into the muscle. Vaccine and antibiotic injections follow this protocol. The technique that I use with dry needling, I use this all the time. Every insertion is going into the muscle. Now, granted, I'm not injecting anything. That's why they call it dry needling, because you're not injecting any medication. But we are certainly going in to the deep parts of the muscle spindle area, to release the trigger point, release the spasm. And when you get there to, as you learn these techniques, you'll learn where to go in the muscle and what important structures to avoid, like avoid major arteries and nerves and so forth. But there's your intramuscular injection. Okay, keratinization is the process of where proteins, so keratin is a protein. So the concept here in our entire body, in the trillions of cells that we have, the cells are constantly dying and then being replaced. So every cell in our body at some point dies, and the lifespan of our cells is different. So some cells die quicker than others, and that's just a normal natural phenomenon. when this happens in the keratin family, your new skin cells come in from the inside out. So it pushes the dead skin cells to the surface of your skin. So that's why when you scratch yourself and you get that white flaky appearance, you're removing the dead skin cells, and it's making it more obvious, so you can have that ashy look. And that's what that is. And then the deeper you go, you're getting a healthier, fresh, newer keratin, and the protein and the cells that make up your skin. This keratinization helps form a permeable barrier, helps protect you from the outside environment and microorganisms and so on. Okay, we mentioned this earlier with melanin being responsible for skin color. Areas of large amounts of melanin, nipples, freckles, moles, lips, palms of hands and feet. And then during pregnancy, because of increased estrogen and other hormones, it can increase melanin production, which can darken nipples and genitalia area. This is also the area that with sunlight exposure will darken. Okay, acne is inflammation of hair follicles and sebaceous glands. And there's a bunch of reasons for developing acne. It could be a hormone issue, sebum, which is a type of oil, abnormal keratinization, bacteria, and another one, which is a big one, is diet. There are foods that people eat that cause acne because of their sensitivity or allergic reaction to the food. And in some people, the way that their body tries to process the allergic reaction is through the skin. It's trying to purge it out. So you get this outbreak because of the harmful byproducts and the inflammatory mediators and so on, as your body is trying to literally fight this food that you are allergic to, and it's trying to get rid of it. So in some people, it chooses to do that through the skin. And that's another reason that can cause acne. The functional medicine that I practice, I do have a lot of consultations with people that come in with acne problems, and they've tried the creams and they've tried this and they've tried that, and it really doesn't work, or they're tired of taking the medication, or they're tired of the side effects that come with the medication. So then they hear about me or someone like me where they start switching gears and choosing a more natural approach, and we really start to focus on detoxifying, eliminating exposure to toxins and maybe things that you're putting on your skin. So we do a full evaluation on that kind of stuff, from shampoos to detergents to the foods that you're eating, and food allergy testing and other tests, and lo and behold, stuff comes back positive. And so they start to eliminate those things that are positive, which decreases their toxicity while simultaneously they're detoxing with me. And I use immunoglobulin therapy, so fluophane and arabinogalactans, hydrochloric acid, and some other amazing nutraceuticals to help them detox. And sure enough, things start to clear up because we're clearing the toxicity that they have built up over time.